Greetings and welcome to another Pokemon 2019 or Pokemon Journeys anime episode review. This time I'm talking about episode 62, so let's get to it. Episode 62 begins in Ceres Park, where Ash and Go are being interviewed by a reporter. Said interview is also being recorded by a cameraman and it is being shown on TV. Now, this is totally random because there is no build up to this interview. The episode just starts here. Also, there is very little context for the interview. Like, they mentioned that Ash and Go are being interviewed because of their work as research fellows in Ceres Institute. But it is never stated why Ash and Go are suddenly being interviewed about this now when they have been research fellows for over 60 episodes. We also don't learn what type of channel or program is interviewing them, and there really is no payoff for this interview either, at least not a traditional payoff. Now, I love that Grookey sees the reporter using her microphone and Grookey then jumps on her shoulder. And Grookey starts swinging its stick like, see, I have a microphone too. While the interview is underway, Sobble is seen sneaking around playing spy and it witnesses the interview while hiding in a bush. Ash and Go talk about what happened in episode 52 and then they are asked about their dreams. The reporter is initially confused by Go's objective of catching every Pokemon, so he calls for his Pokemon and he says that catching Pokemon helps you understand them. And if he understands them all, then he can get to Mew, who holds the genes of every Pokemon. I think that this here is the reason for the interview. Go says that catching Pokemon helps you understand them. Considering how little Go interacts with most of his Pokemon, it's clear that he thinks that you can understand a Pokemon simply by catching them. He does not have to actually bond with them to learn what or how they feel. Considering what ends up happening in this episode, I think that they wanted to clearly show us what Go's idea of understanding his Pokemon is before he learns just how wrong this way of thinking is later in the episode. So the interview ends and Sobble sneaks away. Sobble continues playing spy, or rather it continues its training while remembering Inteleon, until Go's Oddish appears. Oddish walks under a tree. Go's Spearow soon lands on said tree and a citrus berry falls as a result. Sobble sees that the citrus berry will fall on Oddish, so Sobble intercepts the citrus berry by using Water Gun. This saves Oddish, who keeps walking without a care in the world, not knowing that it was just saved. Sobble is happy that it helped Oddish and Sobble starts glowing. Realizing that it's evolving, Sobble thinks of Inteleon like, here we go, Inteleon, here I come. So Sobble evolves, but of course, it evolves into Drizzile and not into Inteleon. Now, I want to say that this is one of the most, if not the most underwhelming evolution ever in the Pokemon anime. Sobble used Water Gun to hit a berry in midair and this caused it to evolve, like really? Like, I knew going into this episode that Sobble would evolve because it helps an Oddish, but I expected it to save Oddish from another Pokemon, meaning that Sobble would have to battle, but nope. Sobble evolved because it used Water Gun on a berry, which is just lame. Pokemon usually evolve to overcome a tough opponent in a battle, or they evolve to get through a difficult situation, or they evolve to save someone from some extreme danger. So, Sobble's evolution is anticlimactic for sure. Now, Go is notified by his Pokedex that Sobble evolved, so he decides to search for Drizzile alongside Ash and Chloe. Meanwhile, Drizzile walks happily, thinking that it is now an Inteleon until it sees its reflection in the lake, which reveals the truth, and this shocks Drizzile, who sits down in depression. Go's Poliwag and Goldeen soon show up and they try to cheer Drizzile up by using Water Gun on it. Drizzile tries to play along, but it creates a water balloon instead of firing off a normal water gun. Drizzile's Pokedex entry for Pokemon Sword does say that Drizzile used water balloons to attack their foes, so this is a nice detail. Goldeen and Poliwag think that Drizzile is indeed playing along, so they use Water Gun again. This time, however, Drizzile is angered, so it uses its tongue to attack in retaliation, but it hits Go's Chinchou instead, who gives Drizzile a good shock. Drizzile falls into the lake as a result, and here, Go's Magikarp takes Drizzile for a short ride before its max Drizzile away. Meanwhile, Ash, Chloe, and Go are searching for Drisail, but they can't find it. So Go says that Cinderace might know where to find Drisail, and Cinderace comes running right as Go says this, and then it even slides in like, "You called? Here I am." Go shows Cinderace a picture of Drisail, and so the search continues. The episode cuts back to Drisail, who is still very depressed. More of Go's Pokemon show up to cheer Drisail up, but Drisail quietly leaves the area. It's clearly not in the mood to be playing around. Drisail tries to find a cave where it can be alone, but every cave it checks already has another Pokemon in it, and the resident Pokemon does not take kindly to Drisail's invasion. Drisail even checks inside a tree, and it finds Ghost Pinsir, who treats Drisail like a bug that wandered in, and Ghost Heracross shows up to dispose of the pest. Like seriously, Pinsir is like, "I don't know what it is, just get rid of it," which Heracross does. Man, poor Drisail just can't catch a break, huh? It just wants to be alone to drown in its despair, but everywhere it goes, there are Pokemon that either annoy it or they treat Drisail like a nuisance. So Heracross sends Drisail flying, and Drisail lands on Cinderace, who immediately picks up Drisail like, "Oh, here you are, and you are so tall now, and you have this long tail now, so cool." Drisail, of course, does not take kindly to this, and so it leaves after pushing Cinderace away. Meanwhile, Ash, Chloe, and Go continue to search for Drisail. Go starts to get really worried about it, and Cinderace shows up right then to inform Go that it found Drisail. So Cinderace leads them to a cave where Drisail has taken up residence. Go calls out to Drisail, but he gets no response, so Grookey heads inside the cave and Go follows after it. Inside the cave, Go spots Drisail's water traps, which hang from the ceiling. This is again a nice detail since Drisail's Pokédex entry in Pokemon Shield says that Drisail laid traps to protect themselves. Go soon finds Grookey, who leads the way to Drisail. Go tells Drisail that he was worried and that it's amazing that it evolved, while Grookey does its usual thing of hitting others in the head with its stick. But Drisail is completely disinterested in everything that Go and Grookey do. Go tells Drisail that it should leave the cave, but Drisail simply ignores Go. Cinderace soon joins Go, and Go tells Drisail that it can still be like Inteleon, so they should continue to train together, but Drisail remains unresponsive. So Cinderace is like, "I got this." Cinderace grabs and drags Drisail out of the cave. Go does tell Cinderace not to force the issue, but Cinderace is like, "Nah, don't worry about it, it will be fine." Drisail is like an introverted, shut-in child that refuses to go outside to play with the other kids. So, an overeager friend or family member has to drag them outside by force so that they can socialize. This becomes even more apparent by the fact that Go and Cinderace introduced Drisail to Ash and Chloe, like two parents introducing their child. Drisail stands there like it's shy and embarrassed, so Cinderace is like, "Go ahead, say hi, introduce yourself." But Drisail just stands there awkwardly, and then it sheds a tear which makes it invisible. Drisail then runs away from Ceres Institute while Go chases after it, trying to stop it. Poor Drisail, it just wanted to be left alone, but even that was denied. Also, it was nice to see the three Galar starters together in one scene, and it's interesting that each is at a different stage of evolution. Go explains the situation to Professor Cerise, who tells Go that a Pokemon's personality can sometimes change drastically when they evolve. Go recalls that this happened with Cinderace when it evolved from Scorbunny into Reboot, and again when it evolved into Cinderace. Now, I love how Cinderace makes this cute face like, "Did I really do that?" Such innocence from the Pokemon that wanted nothing to do with Go for a good while after it evolved into Reboot. Also considering that yet again it's evolving into the second evolution that causes a negative personality change, I guess that not even Pokemon can escape the effects of puberty. Go should really enjoy Grookey's happy and energetic personality while it lasts, because if Grookey evolves too, then it might not be as cheerful as it is now. Professor Cerise goes on to say that maybe Drisail purposely secluded itself, so it probably did not want to leave its den. Krisa adds that perhaps Drisail was more wary of its surroundings after evolving and it wanted a place to relax. Ren theorizes that maybe Drisail wanted to prepare for the future meaning evolution, and he uses Caterpie as an example, who evolves into Metapod and it locks itself itself within a shell to prepare for its evolution into Butterfree. This is a good example, but Caterpie does this because it is how caterpillars evolve into butterflies in real life, so it's not like Caterpie does this out of preference, it's nature. Professor Cerise then says that Drissile's behavior could be unique to it, or it could be common for Drissile. Either way, just like Caterpie has its own charm, so too does Drissile. Finding these quirks and publishing them is the job of a researcher. However, at the end of the day, Drissile is a living creature, and this fact alone makes it marvelous. Man, what a poet. So Go decides to search for Drissile once again. Ash and Chloe tag along. However, the search bears no fruit and they can't find Drissile anywhere. Go decides to keep searching on his own since it's getting late. He tells Ash and Chloe to head back without him, but Ash and Chloe decide to keep searching with Go. Go then starts wondering why did Drissile decide to seclude itself. Go says that he wishes he could understand why. This shows the error of Go's way of understanding Pokemon. He does not know what is Drissile's dilemma, even though he caught Drissile, which according to him means he should understand it. Go then recalls a moment from his childhood, a moment where he felt like Drissile, and Go looked at the stars back then when he was sad. This gives him an idea of where Drissile might be. Go heads to a building in the outskirts of the city, a building that surely provides a good view of the stars, and he finds Drissile sitting on the roof. Go sits down next to Drissile and he apologizes for forcing Drissile to leave the cave. Go then says that when he was little he did not like to play with the other kids. He was always alone. His teacher wondered why, so she questioned Go about it, but Go did not know the answer, so all the questioning just made him feel frustrated. He had no one to turn to, so he just looked at the stars. He thought that maybe Drissile was feeling the same way, and that's how he found it. Go says that he is glad that he found Drissile here because it means that they are alike. Go then says that it's fine if Drissile does not understand what is going on right away. It's fine if it does not know the answer to its dilemma just yet. It can just spend all the time it wants thinking it over, and it can stay in its cave for as long as it wants. Go then says with tears in his eyes that Drissile should not worry about him, that he will be fine, but he hopes that one day Drissile will confide in him. Drissile then wipes one of Go's tears away, which shows that Drissile still cares for Go even in its current state. Go then says that he will always be with Drissile in spirit even if they are apart, and Drissile vanishes. When I saw this scene, I just thought, man, this escalated quickly. Like, seriously. This got very emotional, very fast, and unexpectedly. But I can relate to what Go said. Sometimes we do feel bad or off in some way, but we don't know why, and when others bombard us with questions like what's wrong, we feel aggravated or overwhelmed instead of feeling better, and we just want to be left alone. The best medicine sometimes is to be alone so that we can think about our problems and so that we can reflect on them. So Go tells Ash and Chloe that they should head back. The next day, Go checks the cave Drissile was in on the previous day, and he finds that Drissile is here, meaning that it returned. It chose to stay with Go even if it will still be alone in the cave for now. Go shares the news with Ash and Chloe and they all then go to eat breakfast, but before he leaves, Go tells his Pokemon that he will play with them later, and he then also says in his mind that someday he will play with Drissile as well, and that's the episode. So overall, this episode left me feeling empty, and not because it was sad or depressing, but because I really don't know what to make of it. Normally, an episode like this where a Pokemon evolves is exciting and fun, but instead, the evolution was underwhelming and the newly evolved Pokemon ended up being depressed instead of being happy, and it did not accomplish anything cool with its new form. I was of course ready for most of this since the previews clearly showed that Drissile would be depressed. But I thought that by the end of the episode, everything would be fine. Drissile would be content again and it would continue to train optimistically, hoping to one day become the Inteleon it dreams of. But instead, the episode ended on a bittersweet note. Drizal still cares for Go, it still wants to be with Go, but for the time being it chose to be alone instead, and so Drizal essentially left Go for now. So basically, we got both possible endings combined into one. Drizal both left Go and then also chose to stay with Go. This episode left me feeling empty because I was not sure what I was supposed to feel. Was I supposed to feel sad or hopeful or happy or relieved? I am still not sure what the answer is, but what I can say is that I do commend the studio for making a serious episode that explored some very real themes. An episode that left me so conflicted. It really felt quite different from most other episodes. This episode also gave Go a real trial to overcome, a problem that Go could not resolve by simply throwing a Pokeball. Go had to actually think to understand what was going on with Drizzile. Go had to actually understand one of his Pokemon for once. Go finally had a real struggle. And even after he succeeded in realizing Drizzile's feelings, Go still essentially failed because Drizzile still secluded itself in the end. So for once, things did not work in Go's favor. This might just be the first episode where I genuinely empathized with Go, and this is the kind of development that Go should have received a long time ago. In this episode, Go learned a valuable lesson that he surely won't forget anytime soon. So, while I can't say that I loved or enjoyed this episode, I can definitely appreciate everything it did, and hopefully one day, Drizzile will overcome its depression so that it can finally evolve into the Entelion it so desperately wants to be. But that's the video, as always. Leave your own thoughts down in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did and would like to see more like it, then please consider subscribing to my channel. I love Pokemon and I love making videos on both the anime and the games. Also, please consider clicking the links on screen so that you can check out more videos like this right away. Thank you very much for watching and let's meet again in the next video.